Looking at the entrance of the god's chosen secret realm, Mo Yuan smiled and told Lin that her family elders had only one piece of advice about the god's chosen secret realm. Move forward with all your strength and never take a step back. Saying that, she went inside the secret realm, and Lin followed her. Upon entering the god's chosen secret realm, they first arrived at a floating platform in space. In front of them were two sets of stairs made of hundreds of floating stones. Both Lin and Mo Yuan took their first steps onto the floating stones. Mo Yuan, without any hesitation, started climbing the stairs. Watching her ascend, Lin remembered her advice to move forward with all his strength, and he finally understood what she meant. Climbing these steps would subject Lin to mental pressure, and the higher he climbed, the stronger the pressure felt. Mo Yuan was climbing with ease, thanks to the soul crystal, which had made her spirit strong enough to handle the current pressure with ease. As Lin ascended, the pressure on his body suddenly increased, catching him off guard. Mo Yuan informed him that from here onwards, the real test would begin. There were a total of 500 steps. The first 100 steps contained only a strand of divinity per step, which would become 2 at the next 100 steps, and the last 100 steps had 5 strands each. Looking at the stairs, Lin mentioned to Mo Yuan that he had heard from his master that only 100 strands of divinity could be combined into a complete divinity. Mo Yuan confirmed he was right, smiling and telling Lin that because of this, he must climb at least 100 steps. As Lin took a few more steps, some energy forms started to float around him. Considering the energy forms, Lin thought that although 100 strands of energy could be combined into divinity, since the secret realm had 500 steps, the divinity formed by collecting all the divinity energy here would definitely be stronger, and the benefits gained would be greater. Thinking about the benefits, Lin got motivated and started climbing faster. However, he stopped again after a few steps, shocked by something in front. There was a tripod cauldron placed at the end of the stairs. Lin was confused about why there was a tripod cauldron here. Meanwhile, as Mo Yuan continued climbing, the pressure was increasing, and she started to sweat a lot. She told Lin that as long as one can form divinity, the chance of evolving to a second profession increases to 90%, but if they can walk to the end, the chance of third profession evolution increases to 80%. Hearing this from Mo Yuan, Lin decided to take a closer look at the tripod cauldron. Both of them continued walking. Lin passed the 50th step without resting, while Mo Yuan's condition was not that great when she reached the 50th step. The pressure on her body was too great. When Mo Yuan saw Lin moving forward without any trouble, she began to wonder why. At only level 30, his speed was faster than hers, and it seemed like he was not bearing any pressure. When Lin reached the 100 steps, all the divine energy from the surroundings started going into his body. He received a system notification telling him that his power of divinity was now leveled up, increasing all his attributes by 19%, and additionally, his spirit recovery speed and stamina recovery speed each increased by 100%. Shocked, Lin thought, is this the power of divinity? Not only can it level up, but it can also increase attributes by 1% additionally whenever Lin levels up. Considering his stats, Lin thought that if his attributes accumulate like this, it wouldn't be impossible to exceed his master in the future. Lin decided that he needed to strengthen his divinity and increase the level of the power of divinity. On the other hand, Mo Yuan's condition was very bad because of all the pressure, but when she finally took the 100th step, all the pressure disappeared. Mo Yuan felt very comfortable and was amazed by the power of divinity. However, when she looked ahead, she saw that Lin had already passed the 110th step and was ascending without any problem. For a second, she had forgotten how formidable Lin is. She didn't know what heights he could reach in the end. She was confident that even though Lin was only level 30, he could probably break the record set by Bai Shen. When Lin passed the 125th step, he received another system notification stating that the power of divinity was now level 2. All his attributes would increase by an additional 2% when leveling up, spirit recovery speed by 200%, and stamina recovery speed by 200%. Lin leveled up, but it wasn't enough for him. He smiled and said he would climb higher. Meanwhile, Mo Yuan was at the 115th step and very exhausted. When she reached the 125th step, the pressure became so strong that she collapsed. She was exhausted, but finally managed to level the power of divinity to level 2. She remembered that in her family records, those who could level it to level 2 were already considered peerless geniuses. Mo Yuan said, "Looks like I did not bring shame to my family. Lord Bai Shen reached level 5 in the past. Perhaps I can reach that level too." Suddenly she remembered Lin, and turned to see where he was. She was shocked to see that Lin was at the 150th step. Mo Yuan smiled and said, "What a monster. Being born in the same generation as you is the misfortune of all geniuses. When Lin reached the 200th step, his power of divinity increased to level 5. With this, all attributes would increase by an additional 5% when leveling up. Spirit recovery speed by 500%, and stamina recovery speed by 500%. Reviewing his stats, Lin thought that since the power of divinity was at level 5, and the pressure currently wasn't too great, he could still proceed. When he started to move again, he suddenly noticed a purple light glowing on his side. He looked there, and saw Mo Yuan riding her divine horse and climbing her steps. Lin told her that it was impressive. Mo Yuan told him that it seemed like profession traits could be used here too. But when Mo Yuan reached the 200th step, the pressure increased so much that her divine horse disappeared, and she immediately fell to the ground saying, "This is already my limit." However, she was happy that she had leveled it up to level 5. On the other hand, Lin passed the 300th step with ease. At the 400th step, Lin also started to feel heavy pressure, but he still continued while motivating himself, saying, "Move forward with all your strength. Never take a step back." When Lin was at the 490th step, his whole body was being crushed by all that pressure, and he was breathing heavily. He was almost there. Only 10 steps remained, but now Lin's body was so exhausted that he could not take another step. Lin was getting angry, asking himself, "Is this my limit?" When he looked at the tripod cauldron at the top, he wondered if it could be related to Earth like the primordial rune. There was no way of knowing other than reaching the top and checking for himself. Lin took a deep breath, and then used his primordial rune skill, Enhance Troops. Suddenly, Lin's spirit increased by 200%, and he started going up. When he took the 500th step and reached the top, he saw the tripod cauldron in front, which was very huge and surrounded by divinity energy. A large amount of divine energy surrounded Lin and entered him, but when he looked at the tripod cauldron in front of him, he was shocked. The cauldron was named the Divine Land Cauldron, referring to China. Lin was shocked to see the name Divine Land Cauldron, which indeed was similar to the primordial rune and related to the world in Lin's memories. Lin climbed up to the cauldron to check what was inside it, and he became even more shocked when he saw that the entire cauldron was full of divinity energy. Lin realized that the divinity energy outside was only a small part of what had escaped from the cauldron. He extended his hand towards the cauldron, wondering how many levels his power of divinity would increase if he could absorb all this energy. Before he could touch the cauldron, the stone step he was standing on began to fall. Not only that, but all the stone stairs started to fall. Mo Yuan, who was on the 200th step, suddenly started to fall as well. She was shocked and looked up, asking what was going on. Meanwhile, before falling, Lin jumped and grabbed the cauldron. Just when Lin touched the cauldron, it started to shine brightly. Lin began to float in the air, and all the divinity energy started going inside his body. After that, Lin lost consciousness, and when he woke up again, he found himself in the forest that was right in front of the entrance to the god's chosen secret realm. Looking around, Lin saw Mo Yuan lying beside him. Seeing the surroundings, Lin understood that they had been transported out of the god's chosen secret realm. Before Lin could stand up, his whole body suddenly started glowing with divinity energy, which surprised him. He looked at his stats. Currently, he is level 30 and 92% full with experience. He has the title Dragon Warrior, which increases all attributes by 500 and reduces skill consumption by 50%. His average strength, constitution, and agility are 1,000, and his spirit is 19,000. His power of divinity is at level 30, enhancing all attributes by an additional 30% when leveling up, with spirit recovery speed increasing by 30,000% and stamina recovery speed by 3,000%. As a special item, he has the Divine Land Cauldron, but he is unable to use it at the moment. His Poison Stellar Ring trait is at level 3, causing poison elemental damage within a radius of 3 meters, with damage equal to 30 points of strength lasting for 3 minutes. Additionally, he has the primordial rune skill Enhance Troops, which for 30 seconds increases the attributes of the summoner and his summons by 200%, and all attacks dealt increase by an additional 500%, with a cooldown time of 1 hour. Lin was shocked to find that he had absorbed the Divine Land Cauldron, and his power of divinity had actually leveled up to level 30. The amount of divinity energy in the cauldron was very large, so Lin understood that level 30 was definitely not the end. It was restricted to this level because he is currently at level 30. He looked around and saw that the entrance of the secret realm had disappeared. Seeing this, Lin thought, the Divine Land Cauldron ended up in my hands. Does that mean that there won't be any God's chosen secret realm in the future? How is it, and the primordial rune, related to the world in my memories? There must be a secret behind it. On the other hand, Mo Yuan also woke up and asked Lin what happened. Lin told her that after he climbed to the summit, the secret realm disintegrated. Mo Yuan was surprised to hear that Lin had reached the summit, and immediately asked what the level of his power of divinity was now. Lin told her that his power of divinity is at level 30. Mo Yuan was shocked to hear that Lin was at level 30. She couldn't believe it and smiled, thinking that if it's Lin, then everything is possible. Suddenly, the primordial rune mark on her hand started to disappear. Mo Yuan saw that her primordial rune had fully integrated. A primordial rune mark appeared on Mo Yuan's hand, and she gained an unstoppable skill. Unaware of what it entailed, Lin asked Mo Yuan what skill she had acquired. She told him it was something called Unstoppable, which for 1 minute increases speed by 10 times, makes her invulnerable to all damage, and allows her to ignore all spatial obstacles like barriers and secret realms, with a cooldown time of 1 hour. Hearing that, Lin said, "Not bad, it's a very powerful skill." Mo Yuan agreed, noting that primordial rune skills are all very powerful, though it's a shame that it only lasts for 1 minute. She then stood up, called her divine horse, and with a smile said, "Lin, after troubling you for so many days, it's time for me to leave." She thanked Lin for his care, and told him that she needed to gain experience through training too, and not just be protected by him. With this primordial rune skill, she felt a lot of confidence. Saying that, she flew off on her divine horse. After seeing her off, Lin turned around with a serious expression and said, "It's time for me to level up as well." Lin ventured deeper into the forest, and every monster he encountered along the way was easily defeated by his skeleton warriors. Whether they were dragon warriors, abyss demons, or other monsters, all were slain by Lin without exception. The upper layer of the Eternal Trials is generally divided into 3 sections: the outer area, the central area, and the core area. The enemies Lin now encountered had reached around level 55, indicating that he had already arrived at the core area. As Lin progressed, some abyss demons attacked him, but were quickly killed by his skeleton warriors. Gaining experience from these encounters, Lin finally leveled up. Now Lin is level 31. His average strength, constitution, and agility are 1,130, and his spirit is 19,650. Additionally, with the level up, his power of divinity also advanced to level 31. With this, all his attributes increase by 31%. Additionally, when leveling up, spirit recovery speed by 3,100%, and stamina recovery speed by 3,100%. Seeing this, Lin smiled and said, "Sure enough, the divinity energy in the cauldron wasn't fully absorbed by me. As long as I increase my level, my power of divinity will level up too." Then, as Lin continued deeper into the forest, he saw some dead abyss demons along the way. Realizing that a battle had taken place here, he suddenly noticed more abyss demons ahead. Lin rushed towards them, feeling that the aura of battle was due to a human battling the demons. When Lin arrived, he saw some human hunters surrounded by hundreds of abyss demons. The leader of the hunters told his party to hold on a little longer, saying, "The dungeon is about to form. When that time comes, we'll enter it." The abyss demons started laughing at them, taunting that none of them would be able to enter it, and even if they did, they would still die when they come out, as they couldn't escape from them. While the abyss demons were talking, suddenly someone attacked them. The one who attacked was Lin's sister, Mohan. Lin was surprised to see his sister there,